Welcome to another edition of the Sundown series, and we're still in California, and we are now about to explore the town of Milpitas, California. I can honestly say this is a town I have never ever heard of. I wonder how many other people who are listening to this have heard of this particular town, but if not, hopefully you will gain some knowledge behind this town. It says Milpitas is a city in Santa Clara County, California. It is situated with San Jose to its south and Fremont to its north at the eastern end of State 237, and generally between Interstate 680 and 880, which run roughly north to south through the city. With Alameda County bordering directly on the north, Milpitas sits in the extreme northeast section of the South Bay, bordering the East Bay and Fremont. Milpitas is also located within the Silicon Valley. Just hearing that alone already lets me know what type of demographic is there now. The corporate headquarters of Sonic Wall, Maxter, LSI Corporation, Adaptec, Intersil, FireEye, Viavi, and Lumentum, formerly known as JDSU, KLA, Tencor, and View Inc. sit within the industrial zones of Milpitas. Flex and Cisco also have offices in Milpitas. The population was, as of 2018, 78,106 people. Now I'm going to talk about how this particular town at one point was deemed to be a sundown town, even though when I was reading through it, it doesn't mention it being a sundown town, but it does show the racism that came from this town. According to the book The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein, when the Ford plant moved from Richmond to Milpitas in 1953, the town incorporated in order to pass laws that would exclude African American workers from residing there. So basically, even if they worked for the factory, they had to travel further distances just to get there, and the same way going back home. They made it where they didn't even want them living in that town. Union leaders met with Ford executives and negotiated an agreement permitting all 1,400 Richmond plant workers, including the approximately 250 African Americans, to transfer to the new facility. Once Ford's plans became known, Milpitas residents incorporated the town and passed an emergency ordinance permitting the newly installed city council to ban apartment construction and allow only single-family homes. The Federal Housing Administration approved subdivision plans that met their specifications in Milpitas and guaranteed mortgages to qualified buyers. One of the specifications for the mortgages insured in Milpitas, as in the rest of the country at that time, was an openly stated prohibition on sales to African Americans. Because Milpitas had no apartments, houses in the area were off limits to black workers, though their incomes and economic circumstances were like those of whites on the assembly line. African Americans had to choose between giving up the good industrial jobs, moving to apartments in a segregated neighborhood of San Jose, or enduring lengthy commutes between North Richmond and Milpitas. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. So they had to decide between being in a segregated place where they knew they would catch hell, or stay off to themselves while still holding down this job to provide for themselves and their family, but travel long distances just to get to that job and get back from that job. And when I say long distances, I'm probably talking about well over an hour. Probably longer to get to and from work. And then you got to imagine working at a plant. They had to work long hours and be there early the next day. So they really probably didn't get that much rest. But then the flip side is they can move into a segregated place and just be probably verbally tortured every single day. But hey, the good part of it is, in their mind, you're closer. Like, that's, when you think about it, that's really messed up. And then it says right here in 1966, this man by the name of Ben F. Gross became California's first black mayor, and he was the only black mayor of a predominantly palm-colored town in that time. Now, remember when they said Silicon Valley, and I could pretty much pinpoint who the majority was in that town? Well, it looks like I was right. So the demographics for that town, for that city, is, let me scroll down and see if I can find it, because I was just right there. Okay, here it is. The racial makeup for Milpitas was 20.5% palm colored, 2.9% African American, 0.5% Native American, 62% Asian. When they said Silicon Valley, I already knew that it was mainly them, because in Silicon Valley, it is mostly Asians that live there. And the other ones are under 10%, with the exceptions of Hispanics, where they're 16.8%. So Asians are the highest population there. Hispanics or Latinos are the second highest. No, I'm sorry. Palm colored people are the second highest, then Hispanics, then other races, then us, and then everybody else. But yeah, so you can see that what I'm noticing is that when it comes to California, because there's supposed to be these liberal cities and everything like that, unlike Arkansas, where it was in your face with it because of the type of location Arkansas is in, this is what you call subtle racism right here that they're experiencing. Most of it comes through the industrial system or the job market. It really doesn't go all the way in, with the exception of that one where they were talking about the neo-Nazi headquarters being there, and that was about it. But the rest of them seem more work-based, which is still racism in and itself, in zoning. So it seemed like it was a lot of redlining, if anything, when it came to them. But this concludes this edition of the Sundown series for the town of Milpitas, California. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything else additional about this town that I didn't touch on in this video, or if this was all completely new to you. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.